till after low fuel reserves forced the Spitz to turn for home. But the ragged blossoms of dirty, black-gray smoke that had just begun to appear ahead of the ponderous fortresses clearly indicated the Germans were aware of the aerial armada's progress. While the anti-aircraft fire was still relatively light and inaccurate, in their dry post-mission reports, the 94th's intelligence officers classified such barrages as meager. Every man in the bomber stream knew that would certainly change the nearer the formation got to its target. That objective, the commercial airport-turned-Luftwaffe base at Le Bourget outside Paris, was heavily defended by flak batteries, and Cornwall briefly mused about how ironic it would be to get shot down during a raid on the place where Charles Lindbergh had received a hero's welcome after his solo flight across the Atlantic 16 years earlier. Even more ironic, the young gunner thought, would be to die bombing France on this particular day, the 154th anniversary of a key event in the now subjugated nation's history, Bastille Day. Some 40 miles to the southeast of the American bomber stream, Major Egon Meyer was just lifting his Focke-Wulf FW-190 off from the Luftwaffe airfield at Beaumont-les-Rochers. The 26-year-old was one of Germany's most successful fighter pilots, and as of that morning had 68 confirmed aerial victories, the majority of them RAF Spitfires downed over France or the Channel. But the start of American daylight bombing raids in the fall of 1942 had brought about a gradual change in the nature of Meyer's victims. From nimble fighters to what Luftwaffe pilots called Wehrmacht, the four-engine B-17s and B-24 Liberators of the fledgling US-8 Bomber Command. The change in prey had also necessitated a change in tactics for the German pilots tasked with intercepting the heavy bombers. The American formations could throw out a deadly stream of defensive fire in all directions, and the attacks that worked so well against fighters, a relatively slow, overtaking approach from the side or rear that allowed a concentration of hits on the enemy's control surfaces and cockpit, were vastly more dangerous and notably less successful when attempted against a Wehrmacht bristling with machine guns. Meyer himself had helped develop a new way to engage the American heavies, a high-speed, head-on attack that took advantage of the relatively weak nose armament of early-model B-17s and B-24s and concentrated the attacker's fire on the bomber's cockpit. The tactic demanded a high degree of skill and considerable courage on the part of the attacker, with the fighter and its target closing at a combined speed of nearly 500 miles per hour. Even the slightest miscalculation on the Luftwaffe pilot's part could spell disaster for him as well as his quarry. But when executed correctly, the head-on attack could be devastatingly effective, as Meyer proved the first time the new technique was used in combat. During a U.S. raid on the German submarine pens at Saint-Nazaire, France, on November 23, 1942, he shot down 2 fortresses and a Liberator in less than 30 minutes. By the summer of 1943, Meyer was not only among the Luftwaffe's highest-scoring fighter pilots, he was the commander of one of the service's most renowned units, Jagdgeschwader Fighter Wing 2. Bearing the honorific title Richthofen after Germany's leading World War I ace, JG-2 was the first line of defense against the Allies' increasingly vigorous strategic bombardment campaign. The unit's 3 groups of heavily armed and highly lethal Messerschmitt Bf-109 and FW-190 fighters, some 120 aircraft in all, were in action almost every day, rising from airfields across western France to engage the bomber streams. And Meyer, a pilot arguably as skilled